everybody. Namaskar, everybody, and good evening, all.
So we have gathered very few persons.
Welcome all of you to this Sunday webinar of Philosophy Family. Well, today we have with us Roma Wani madam from Kashmir, and we have listened to her many times. She has delivered lectures in this family, and she also a number of times participated in the interaction sessions. Her ideas, thoughts are really wonderful. And today we have with us Roma Madam, and she will be speaking to us on tips for happiness. And this is one of the fine topics that we can have, because the modern man is lacking somehow this element of happiness in his life. So we think it's an appropriate right topic to discuss on how we thinkers we can do something to this world, so that the people around and the societies around, or the people in the society, feel happy and contented with whatever they have or whatever they do. So let us, without wasting much time, I welcome all the participants. I say a big namaskar to senior professors Avinash, Ranjit Gosar, Ravani madam, and all others who have participated, and also welcome our admin, Professor Pramod Kumar Das, to this webinar. And with these words, let us all move to Roma Wani madam for her talk, and learning from her as to how we can at least find happiness in our lives. So, with these words, let us all move to Roma madam for the talk. Namaskar, madam. Welcome, madam. Namaskar. Madam, please unmute, madam. Please unmute. Madam, please unmute.
Namaskar. And as usual, the pleasure and the blessing is always for me when I'm with all of you learned people. And as I said, Professor Saab always gives me very tricky subjects to think about and talk about. And today, before I begin, as we all know, Mother's Day is being celebrated. So, with folded hands, and I would like to, greet all of you. Mothers are what give us the maximum happiness. So I bow before my mother, every mother, on this beautiful day that people have selected to honor her. Not that we do not otherwise think of our mothers or honor them, but now that this has become a new parampara, having one day allotted to specially make mothers feel that we acknowledge their contribution into our lives, into our happiness. Each one of us always says, I was so happy when I was a child. Oh, I've had a very happy childhood. And so I also. But sometimes I wonder, what has gone wrong when we have grown up, that suddenly we feel we are no longer happy? What was it in our childhood we had that we were so happy? And a very simple answer came to me. My reply was, I was happy because I had no cares. And I had a full faith that my mother and father are around to take care of me. Because I had no cares, I was happy. As I grew up in life, I just was inculcated the habit of reading. My father was a voracious reader, and so was my mother. And I would read a lot. And there came a particular time when one went into bookstalls and found um, things like how can you have a happy married life, how to make your children happy, and how can you make your personal life happy. And I always wonder, why do we need to learn from others how to be happy? Because happiness is within us. Why are people telling us how to be happy? And of course, one has walked and had a long journey. And when Professor Saab told me that I must give tips for happiness, you can imagine how I must have, introspected, thought of my childhood, my personal life, and days to then and to think, what will we talk about today? Hmm? Now, to feel happy, first I must understand, no, what is it that is going to make me happy? Because happiness is a very subjective thing. So when one talks of happiness, we all want to be happy, but if it is subjective, that means there is some variety will come in, isn't it? uh, Maybe in character difference, or maybe behavioral differences, or life differences. So in the subjectivity, there would be difference in degree, difference in quality, and for example, I would think a person goes to a club and he plays cards. Maybe he's happy. But another person goes to a temple and along with devotees, he's offering bhajans and he finds his happiness there. So I think there the character of the person matters, isn't it? Or um or a person may, or people may be in the same place, but the degree of happiness may vary. For example, one could say that what example could one give in this, that yeah, maybe we are all sitting out in the sunshine, but the sunshine is the same. But one person feels that while I'm going to the park and sitting there, I should wear designer clothes. And the other person might feel, oh, but I'm going to the park to absorb vitamin D. So I can be in plain cotton clothes. Huh? So the degree of that joy is varying. But is this what happiness is all about? And who is seeking the happiness? Because, I mean, as I was thinking, I was wondering, we are the body and the soul, as we generally talk about. So, is it my body seeking happiness? Or is it my soul that is seeking happiness? When I thought of our body and soul, then two things came in between. As we've read in our holy books, that there is a mind and then there is an intelligence. So the body may read the holy books, then the mind will absorb the content and understand. The intelligence will apply that. And finally, who will get the benefit of all this? The soul. The soul will be benefited. Therefore, happiness, I think, is actually being sought by the soul, which is traveling or abiding in the body. And the mind is playing a great role in seeking that happiness for the soul. But after seeking, it has to be very intelligently, very, very intelligently be transferred and translated to the soul. Now, if it is such a difficult subject, happiness, then how can we just give tips to each other? How did people write books about happiness? You know, how do people talk about happiness, or even when I will be talking about happiness, what am I going to say? What, how will I say that? No, how will I relate? I'm very happy to be talking about happiness. Can I get the response? I'm very happy to be hearing about happiness. Because, as I said, the character, the degree of the happiness, the quality is very subjective. How many of us can be on the same plane? And then the other thing that I have realized, which is very important, is that sometimes we say, oh, how lucky. He's always laughing. He's always smiling. Oh, they're so fortunate. They're so happy. But I've learned through experience that happiness doesn't come by luck or fortune. Happiness is by choice. Because as we just now, we were talking and interacting, and when I talked about, how I'd been traveling and had to be attending to patients and my own surgery, and Professor Saab said, part of life. So if life is about obstacles, challenges, then God cannot just make a few people fortunate and say, no, you will have no challenges, you'll always be happy. No, because God, in His graciousness, in His beneficence, in His mercifulness, is same to everybody. So He cannot say that I'm going to make this person happy and that person not very happy. So I realized that it has nothing to do with luck or fortune, but happiness comes by choice. I choose to be happy. And how am I going to choose to be happy? I have to think, how will I be happy? A, which earlier also, whenever we have interacted, I've always said that I learned from the spiritual masters that the moment we are grateful for what we have, I spoke about attitude of gratitude once. The moment we are grateful, we are in a state of gratitude to the Almighty, then we feel happy. Because, for example, I see someone with a Mercedes car, maybe I'm unhappy, or I cannot afford a BMW or a Mercedes or whatever. But the moment I think, oh, thank you, God, he's traveling in Mercedes, so what? I have my Maruti, I've got my little car. The moment I say that word of thankfulness, of gratitude, immediately that stress or whatever, my maybe that envy or unhappiness, it just subsides. And immediately I feel happy. So the moment I'm grateful for whatever God has given me, uh, happiness comes in. I do not know whether I should call it a tip, but these are experiments and experiences which I'm sure our spiritual masters went through and passed them on to us. Like, again, I think one of Goetz, like, Count your many blessings, count them one by one, and you will be surprised what God has done. So, if we begin to count our blessings and be grateful for them, then of course, that's the greatest thing. Because by choice, not by luck or fortune, but by choice, I have attained happiness. Then the other thing, the other burdens, yes, also these thoughts came because when I said, uh, what is happiness as a child, I said, because I have no cares. So that means when I'm growing up, I'm beginning to have worries. Then I thought to myself, okay, what do we all generally worry about? So of course my topmost priority, as I always said, health. Oh, we worry about health. Okay, so now by choice, how will I cure my health? I will eat well, then I will rest well, then I'll also exercise. So fine, I have that worry. And the moment I take care of that worry, I make the effort, obviously that worry will go away. Huh? And there, J. Krishnamurti comes in. He says, happiness comes when you're left with no desires. As long as you keep desiring, you know, you are stressed, you're not happy because you have not attained what you want. But the moment your desire comes through, then you're happy. Yeah. So one worry was health. Then I said, okay, now after health, what do generally we worry about? So one thinks, and one says, after health, money. We all want money, don't we? Because for existence, for whatever our needs and all, we need money. So again, like health, how will I solve the money problem? I should work for it. Then after I work for it, I must spend well. But spending does not mean just lavishly. No, I must be thrifty so that for the rainy day, maybe I can keep a little bit. Ah, then money. Then what's the other thing we worry about? Time. I don't have time to do this, to do that. And of course, I wouldn't like to repeat again, but we already spoke about time management, the philosophy of it. So we knew. And that day we discussed and we said, okay, we should always have a schedule for our time to do things in time. And manage it well. And each day we realize, no, our dreams keep expanding day by day, but what we don't realize, our life is actually getting shorter by the day. So we are having less time and more things to do. So we have to become aware that if I have to manage time and my desires, then even my desire should be uh, very, very small and practically achievable, so that within the time that is shortening, I'm able to achieve my desires. So, health, we spoke about money, time, then the other thing, relationships. Now, that is a very tricky thing. Relationships, parents and siblings, then one gets married, then you have your spouse and children, relationships, then friends, community, society, relationships. We are always worrying about them, and therefore we lose our happiness. So, how to handle relationships? Again, same thing comes to mind. Let me do my duty, let me do my best, and just leave the rest to God. Because what happens if we fail ourselves, then what happens is we are left with regrets. That regret also takes away our happiness. So if we maintain our relationships, by doing our duty, playing our part, and then let's go, let's go, let's go, live and let live. So relationships are taken care of. And then society, you know, we have to, once we decide not to live in a forest all alone, and we come and live within a community in the society, we have to live by its norms. And our attitude to the norms should be the same. Oh, this is the rule of the society. Okay, let me live by the social norms and not worry, because we know society will always talk, for good or for bad. They'll always talk. So our attitude should be, kuch to log kahenge. Huh? Our attitude should not be, they say, what do they say? And start worrying, worrying, worrying. No. We have to say, they say, let them say what they say. You know, But as long as my conscience is clear that I have lived by the norms of the society, then one does not need to fear. Then the other things that we worry about is the future. What will happen 5 years later? I might get older. I'll be falling sick. My children, what is the guarantee that there'll be a future? I do not know, because God has kept a veil between. That's the only veil he has kept in my existence. Everything I can calculate mathematically, but the inevitable I do not know. So what future are we worrying about? Yes, it's good. As I said, even when in money, we should be thrifty. We must spend, also keep a little for the rainy day. But that does not mean that we have to start worrying about the rainy day. No, we have to just like uh, prepare for the worst, hope for the best. You know, Prepare. No harm preparing, but to worry about the future, because I don't know whether the future will be there. Or otherwise, the other thing that happens to us is we are angry about our past, or we are worried, or we keep, thinking, had I done this, had I not done that? Oh my God, why did I do this? To keep happy by choice, what must I do? I must say, can I undo or rewind my past? No. So, why am I stressing myself, angering myself, disturbing myself for a past that I cannot do anything about? So, there is only one thing: to live in the present. And once I decide, again by choice, once I decide, future I'm not going to worry about, past I'm not going to think about, I'll automatically live happily, living in the presence, The other things that worry us for no rhyme or reason, for no rhyme or reason. Some world issue. Suddenly we hear some news and we start debating, discussing, are, how is something going to affect me? Why am I so worried? Yes, one can empathize with natural disasters. One can sympathize with people who are suffering, but one need not stress, because even, one could avoid watching, because when we are watching certain debates and discussions on television, I notice people do not use very gentle language. Sometimes they get harsh, and then you want to also retort, oh, how shameless, how can he talk like that? One makes those remarks. So why worry about world issues? Yes, to hear news, to know what's happening around us is good, because, then, as I said, those emotions and sentiments that man was created with, huh, of love, of giving. For those reasons, yes, we must know, can we help somebody in a disaster? Can we donate something? Can we do? Yes, to that extent, yes, because those acts are definitely going to bring us a lot of happiness. Giving is going to bring us a lot of happiness. Mm. And even through all this, all these worries, as I said earlier, we have to balance them with the attitude of gratitude. Anytime we get these worries or hear these news, immediately if we indulge, even for a moment, in gratitude, God, this is happening somewhere across the world, but thank you. You have kept me safe in this shelter of mine. And then the since, as you all know, I do counseling, I get cases where people come who have lost all hope in life, and they feel that their life is totally meaningless. They say, what am I living for? Huh? I have nothing to do. What can I do? You know, why was I born? This, I think, is the greatest challenge that a human being can come to, a meaningless life. But again, as I said, since happiness is by choice, what we can do is not give up on keeping aims and goals. However, the aims, goals, sh- even a goal is very far fetched, but we must streamline it with little steps. So, if we have small aims, like my knees are paining, and I say, my God, now I can't walk. What will I do? But if I keep the aim, no, no, no. Uh, Today I'll try to, you know, climb up one stair. Doesn't matter, once a day. Huh? And suddenly that becomes an aim for the day. I'm going to climb one staircase. And even if my knees are paining, but because my aim is there and I want to achieve that aim, obviously, when I climb that stair, I'll be very happy. Hmm. And then, now, as we went through these points that we worry about, on the other hand, as I said, gratitude, uh, the gratitude is always there. And, one has to, from the holy books, as we've seen, see, everywhere the do's and don'ts are written. Huh? They say, do this karma, do not do this karma. Hmm? So we will either do that karma, do that duty, which is karma, and then sometimes we fail to do those things. That is, of course, as Professor Saab has explained many a times, vikarma. But our holy books also say that you must, to be happy, indulge in akarma. You do your karma and then let nature take over. Don't look for the fruit, because when you do karma, the fruit will come. It will come. But if you're looking for the fruit or you're performing the karma for the fruit, again, you're going to be stressed. So we have to bring ourselves in a stage of a karma. One has to do the karma as one of I heard in one of the discourses. We must have the mentality of a examinee, a student, you know, who is preparing for the full year. Then he gives his exam. So life is like that. My karma is to give the exam. The marks will come, I know, but I'm not craving for the marks. I've done my exam, like a student has done the examining, and I leave it to the examiner to give me the marks. Whatever the marks come, I am contented with it. No? I have to be. because I did akarma. I left it to the examiner to give me the marks. Or another beautiful example I heard was that of a bank telly. You know, the teller, he sees lakhs and crores of rupees going and coming and going and coming. Every day he's undergoing that. Huh? But it's our karma because, you know, he's doing his duty, but he's contented with what? Just the pay that he gets on the first of every month. Hmm? So if we can get into that mode of existence, of course, it's easier said than done. But, you know, if we are aware of these things, I'm sure each one of us at some time or the other will make an effort. And when we make the effort, we know God is always watching us. And, you know, He's always helping us to achieve what has come to us from Him through our holy books. Huh? And um, if we do not do that, what is written, then of course we are the people who are going to be suffering. Huh? And so this brings us to what are the things we should practice. A, spirituality, because once we read our holy books, then, you know, uh, we begin to understand, and then our intelligence, you know, translates it into action. uh, and finally, by practicing spirituality, I'm sure we will at least get to a point where even if we do not feel absolutely top of the world, but at least we will be more calm, more tranquil within. And that will definitely generate, you know, happiness. The other thing one could one could practice is morality. And I'm not talking about the higher morality of granthas and all. I'm talking about simple things like the morality that we teach our children through moral sense, like a friend in need is a friend indeed. And, you know, please help your friend whenever you can. Or I'm talking about that simple morality because I've noticed that, you know, when we try walking the straight path, the middle path, without indulging in extremes, then our life is definitely balanced. Huh? So I'm talking about that morality. If I'm living well, um, and I'm trying to do these little things, which I have learned to do, like, you know, not being greedy, let me not envy somebody, let me not indulge in vanity, you know, show off and all that. And, you know, those little things, then again, that will keep me happy. Then, of course, one could also talk about bondages and freedom because you know, we, because of our body or because of our relating everything to selfishness, me, mine, I, my, we get bonded. But to free ourselves from that bondage, you know, one has to become flexible, and one has to begin to, you know, think in terms of yes, I have to be connected to life, but not attached to it, not bonded by it, you know. Connected, yes, because if I have to live, I have to exist my life, I have to live the number of breaths that the Lord has prescribed for me, then you know, I have to stay connected, you know. Because if I don't stay connected, that means I'm negating his blessings upon me. So that kind of freedom, if we can, you know, and for that to get to that stage, one has to appreciate. Again, I'll come back that happiness by choice is to be taken. How I already spoke about gratitude. Then the other thing is, I've earlier also said, the um, we do feel wronged many a times, and we do feel hurt. So, what one could do in the spirit of giving, because that is a morality: give, 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 forgive. So, if we begin to forgive, then that means we are making a choice. If I'm not forgiving, the person who hurt me is happily sitting and enjoying his life. He doesn't even know he has hurt me, because my own sentiment and my own attitude has created that hurt within me. So, why should I allow my attitude to hurt me by something that ABCD said? So, what I can do is to forgive, because to forgive myself first, because I'm the culprit who has hurt myself. But because I'm blaming someone else, then also forgive that person, you know. So that again is a very thing. Then the other thing we can do is positive attitude. I heard my spiritual master one day saying, he said, when we have experiences, don't step back, don't get scared, unveil your experience and try to, you dissect it, and see what is that experience teaching you. So the moment my attitude towards any hurt, any worry, or anything that has made me unhappy changes, and I want to understand what have I to learn from here, then immediately I am looking for the positive side of the coin. You know, I'm looking for heads up, Maybe the tails have put me down. But once I begin to look for the positiveness in every act, obviously, I'm, my choice is to be happy, because I am saying I don't want to be unhappy or stressed or frustrated or depressed by this incident. I choose to be happy, and therefore, God, help me to understand, why did you give me this challenge? And once I see that, then, I will learn how to manage my stress. By and by, I will learn how to manage the stress, and make adjustments, because I said flexibility is very important. So I'll make adjustments to my circumstances. And what I will finally get into is to accept everything as coming from God. Anyway, it's coming from God. But, because we uh, do not acknowledge as things coming from God, then we feel unhappy. But if we go through these little steps, then what happens? We come to a state where automatically everything that comes our way, we begin to accept in total humbleness, and we say, it's coming from God. So it has to be for my good. It is coming from God. It has to be for my good. And, I remember when I joined the scouting and guiding movement as a little bulbul. We used to promise, we say, I promise to do my best, to do my duty to God, my country, and to do a good deed every day. So, uh, even though I grew up to be a guide and a leader, and even, was the head of the movement in my state, but somehow I could never forget that. And I heard many spiritual masters saying that, this could be one of the little aims that we have in life. Do a good turn every day. And as I tell all the children, if you can't do anything, you have no money, you have nothing to give a little smile to anybody, everybody you meet. And that God is going to take. Because I've seen people who are frowning, uh, people who are fighting, or even whatever, even on the roadside, somebody's angry because a car has swished by, and they've maybe it was raining or something, and you just smile at them, and even in the worst of scenarios, you see them smiling back at you, or at the most they say, why are you smiling when I'm so angry, you know but I'm sure even that little smile is going to make such a big difference. So, uh, and of course, to live like a clown. Once I was a member of the Parliament of Clowns, International Parliament of Clowns. And I always thought, if we could all learn to live like a clown, whatever pains we have within, but if we could get over them and just be clownish, maybe we'll spread a lot of happiness. And if we all begin to live like clowns, even if I have some um, some unhappy thoughts, maybe another clown will help me to laugh, isn't it? For example, now we have these comedy shows, or we have these stand-up comedy shows and laughter shows. Then I wonder, so once I said, my God, I watched this show for 40 minutes. But what was the joke, he said? No, there was no joke. Then I started thinking, but why was I laughing? And why has it left me so happy? Huh? So then I realized actually what these stars, the actors are doing, they are engaging our concentration through their body language or through whatever they're talking, their actions, their smiles, so that during that period, we are actually forgetting our own stresses and unhappinesses, sadness, sorrow. Actually, they're not cracking jokes. No, 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 no. Because I couldn't find a single joke in that show. The man was not joking, but his body language and the actors, the other actors who came along, and the single man also, the stand-up comedy shows, he was actually not cracking a joke. He was only playing with words and his expression and the way he was talking about something that had happened in his life. But I did realize that he had held my attention and concentration, like, literally had hypnotized me during that period. I had forgotten my own existence and all the challenges, and is laughing away and is enjoying. And after that, even when it's over, and if the memory comes to you, you can smile about it anytime. Huh? It's not just that moment. So, also the trick of forgetting. And I think once I spoke about this trick, which I practice normally when things are not the way I would like them to be, or just think, 5 years from now, will it matter to me? 10 years from now, 30 years down the line, I won't even be bothered. So why am I bothered now? Okay, I'm unhappy. Okay. Thank you, God. You gave me this experience. I will, learn something from it. And so, like, also, um, I thought, one could have little things. This trick I learned, but from one of the books, they said every morning, you're going to brush your teeth. So, you put up a slip on the mirror and say, "Good morning, have a wonderful day." Hmm? You have a beautiful thought somewhere written. Or like on my table, I have something. I'll read it for you later. I have something sitting here, so I'll read it later for you. I've got something like God is near. I can show it to you. In my writing table, I have this: God is near to you. And so, I learned these little tricks. So, trying to forget also helps sometimes. Not that we will forget, it's very difficult to forget. But if I've learned my lesson, then, I can forget the pain and remember the lesson. I know it's very difficult to forget, because when we are sharing things, and sometimes when I'm actually trying to communicate with friends, and I see them in pain, actually some pains I repeat, say, "Oh, we all go through these things." So it's difficult to forget. But once we have learned our lesson, then the the episode loses that the prick of that pain. And we become we accept it and we learn. And so, one could have things like, keep in mind, like, a I must not pity myself. Why should I pity myself? That is causing pain, no? So when get into a state where I'm pitying myself, what can I do? Array, see, that person is better off than me. Indulge in gratitude, right? Or, we can, um, uh, circumstances are such that we can't fight. Why fight? Don't fight. Accept, accept, accept. You know, Sometimes, as I said, I meet people who say life is meaningless. They give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Walk on. Walk on. You know, why give up? Go on and on and on. Then there are times when one gets entangled or embroiled in other people's things. Somebody's fighting for no rhyme or reason. We go stand there and act like a judge. No, no, he's right, he's wrong. Are you? Why you want to get entangled and embroiled in somebody else's problem? Let go, let go. Yeah. If someone comes to you and says, "Please, I'm in this problem with so and so. Can you assist me in getting over it?" Yes. Then it is our duty to try and talk with them, and uh, you know like uh, you know try and explain to them. But that is only if they come to us. If they do not come to us, then let go, let go. Everybody has his own experiences to experience. Then the other thing, don't be selfish. I want i want i want No, don't be selfish. Instead of that, give joy, give kindness. If nothing else, I said, give a smile. Also, I think a great saint of India, he said, you know, I want, if you take away the I, the want still remains. But if you take away the want, then only happiness remains, because there is no want. So you're already feeling fulfilled, isn't it? And the other thing, again, normally I see youngsters these days, and we also daydream a lot. There's no harm in dreaming, but wasting time daydreaming as if to say I'm going to attain my dreams by daydreaming, it doesn't help. So it is better to take action, to have little aims, and as I said, achievable little aims, huh? And as I said, the greatest thing I would say is to live the present and love, huh? Love, and love more and more and more. And the more we love, I think we will be very happy, because we will be in the mode of giving, and suddenly we'll realize, oh God, you've given me so much that I'm just giving. Even myself, huh? We have to come back to that forgiveness part, isn't it? So, then of course, again, coming back to the real little things, we can develop little hobbies like reading, as I said, has been a great hobby with me, or music. Now these are little things that bring us joy, so why not? I'm not sure, Professor Saab, if this could be taken as a tip for happiness, but I've found my happinesses in these little things. Whatever, the moment I get engrossed in a storybook, then I'm so much with the characters that I'm happy and forgetting everything, or there's some music going on, huh? And of course, that again is subjective. As I said, the degree might be different. Someone may like classical music, and someone may like to listen to rap, huh? And then, of course, we can also develop acts of forgiving, which I always stress upon. When we are going out and doing some kind of social activity, going to hospital to visit patients, or going to orphanages or whatever. I mean, I'm not here to decide, but anything that helps us to give, and give joy, also brings back, because life, the karma is like a boomerang. Whatever goes comes around, whatever goes comes around. So if we can give joy and kindness, I'm sure it'll come back. And of course, the most important through all this is to maintain our personal health, huh? At whatever stage in life, if we are healthy, because once health goes, then everything goes. Then, all the money in the world, the best of luxury facilities, you really can't enjoy them. Of course, we'll have our aches and pains, the knee aches and the headaches and the backaches with age and whatever. But if we could maintain, you know the health, personal health, and uh, of course, nowadays we also, since social media has become so strong, and though I'm not for indulging in it too much, not becoming addict to it, but I do say that it's a good way of, maybe 15 minutes every morning, or whatever time is suitable, send a message, read messages. Because a couple of good messages I read through, like one message came and that said, life gives us only 10%. No, 10% of life is, I think, what did it say? 10% of life is what happens to us, but 90% of life is how we react to it. You know, See, I learned this from this WhatsApp messages, and really, so, I mean, what really happens to us is just a little thing, but how we react, and for how long we react, and for how long we think, years and years of pain we keep in our heart. And I mean, like, what can I say? But I would say that these were some of the thoughts. I know I do not qualify to give tips for happiness, but these were experiences that I went through, which I've helped, which I've learned from the many spiritual masters I've been blessed with. And once again, on Mother's Day, I greet you. And yes, I promised to read something from my table. This particular thought says, watch your thoughts, they become words. Watch your words, they become action. Watch your action, they become habit. Watch your habits, they become character. Watch your character, for it becomes you. So I hope not only you, but me as a you from you, all, I hope we will have happier moments in our life as and when we develop the attitude of gratitude and accept everything as coming from God. And of course, help ourselves subjectively as per our own needs, help ourselves subjectively to develop little habits which will keep us away from pain, or rather, which will keep pain away from us and make us happy. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, madam, for a beautiful lecture, a wonderful lecture. Really, being trained by spiritual masters, you really have a lot of spiritual orientation, and your entire lecture I could find so divinely oriented. And I'd say you have lot of experiences because of your training, that you have tried to understand life and you have tried to see how life could be so simple and easy. And these are the ways how we can really feel happy within, and find ourselves on a platform where we can see things around, have find ourselves in parity with them, and really feel good about what is happening, and surrendering everything for God and doing our best of our duties, and keeping to ourselves saying that it is God's will and this is how life is, and this will keep really define our happiness. So very nice lecture. Well, I'll come with whatever you have talked later on, but at first I would like to request Professor Ranjit Ghosh sir to have his observations and comments, and also questions. Namaskar sir, please, your observations, comments and questions, sir. Thank you so much, madam, for your lecture.
Thank you, Dr. Rao. Madam Wani has given us very nice illustration of what happiness is. But if we go on philosophizing uh, on the concept of happiness, then I should say that it is an eluding concept, because you see, it is a paradox. It is based on a paradox. The more we pursue happiness, the less we get it.
Get it.
It eludes us always, and we always bring John Stuart Mill's observation on this question of happiness. And he said that if you ask yourself whether you are happy, you cease to be so.
So, yes.
So this is the thing. Now, so what should be our conclusion? I think that happiness should not be pursued as an aim in itself.
Yes.
That is most important, because happiness comes from a purposive and meaningful life, and this living, meaningful living, also not for myself but for others.
Very true.
Because if I can improve others' lives, then I can become happy. Now, there is a problem still persists, because you see, philosophically, three concepts, they come very closer to each other, and we bring them as a family resemblance. Three concepts like joy, pleasure, and happiness.
Yes.
So all these concepts, actually, we are not sure about what happiness will be, because my happiness may not be the happiness of others. So
Yes.
that is why we cannot just bring quite a definition of what happiness is, because many things we have to, as you have rightly mentioned, madam, that in thinking about others' lives, our own lives make sense. That is most important. and thereby we can experience happiness. And that's why you brought this concept of love. The more we love, the more we get happiness. And another concept you have also mentioned, that is gratitude and acceptance. That gratitude towards the Almighty and acceptance about the situation in which we live. So if we continue with these things, then I think happiness will automatically be explained. Because what actually happiness is based? It is actually based on knowing our own potentials, our own strength and weaknesses. Because happiness is something which we can know about ourselves, and not by our own selves, but with our interaction with others. So that is how we get the meaning of happiness. Thank you. Many other things. This is a I should say, interesting topic, because everyone wants to be happy. But
Yes.
when asking about whether he is happy, he becomes sensitive. Thank you, madam.
Thank you. Thank you, Rajiv sir. And yes, I agree that it's a very eluding factor. Actually, could be also called an illusion in itself. But as I mentioned, that's why happiness is a very subjective thing. We all have our own definitions as per our experiences, and because the definition itself is not clear, so obviously we are running after something that no one can define. But thank you very much, sir, accepting.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
madam.
Thank you. Thank you so much, madam, for your response, and thank you, Rajesh sir, for uh, your way of looking into the entire issue. Thank you so much. Well, let us move to somebody who wants to say something. Anybody? Krishnamurti sir. Yes, welcome. Namaskar, sir. Please. Yes.
Good evening to all, and thank you very much for this nice lecture. Madam Roma Wani has given a beautiful lecture. I would appreciate really that she touched upon the aspect of happiness from the point of agnostic philosophy, or even Sir J.K.'s philosophy, or even she touched upon the general philosophy of her own conceptions, really to be appreciated, and it's really indeed very, wonderful, and I thank her very much for this nice lecture. And she also touched upon the Vedic philosophy by quoting the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, Karma Yoga, where she just underlined about some of the points, especially the fruit of action is really to be, appreciated. Thank you very much for this nice lecture. Though she could have dealt upon the Vedic philosophy as well as the Advaita philosophy, and also the Saiva Siddhanta philosophy, which speaks about the happiness, which is only a temporary phenomenon as far as Sri Adi Shankaracharya is concerned, the part played by Maya. But in this mundane life, how to be happy has been really, put forward and beautifully explained by Madam Rama Vani. Thank you very much.
Blessings.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Krishnamurti sir. Well, anybody who wants to speak on this issue, well, I find in the chat box Sravani Misra, madam, finding a lot of energy from the talk of Roma madam, and she is very much inspired by the talk. Well, that's the message from the chat box. Well, one thing, madam, that comes to my mind, well, while dealing with happiness, well, as you said, it is subjective and it is something within us. And what happens is the man searches for happiness outside. Okay, when it is inside. So that is number one. Number two, we really feel when you get a good result, say, we really feel happy. But the moment when we say the result that somebody else that has got a bit, suppose say your son, my son gets say 95% in the examination, I feel really happy. But the moment I learned that somebody, my son's friend has got 96%, immediately the entire happiness goes down. So that is the attitude of comparison. So takes away the happiness that is there, that was already there. And and that modern man suffers from. The moment one compares, the happiness goes away. Number thing. Number two is whatever we have, it is by the grace of God. We need to be contented. We need to be focused on what we have. But what happens is the psychology of man is such that he least focuses on what he has. He least focuses on the strengths, but focuses on what he doesn't have. So
Yeah.
that is one of the greatest source of losing away happiness. Now, one more thing that comes to my mind is we try to compare, okay, with ourselves, finding ourselves on the lower side and taking somebody to be in the higher side, when the reality is we are what we are. We cannot be with anybody other. I am what I am. I should have that feeling. I am what I am. As per my strength, as per my application, as per my say luck, or as per the God's grace, whatever is given to me, well, it's all right. But the moment I say I need to, I compare, I see somebody prospering, then the element happiness goes away. So my feeling is whenever we want to compare with a man who is having less. Suppose if I'm comparing with my car, let me compare with a person who has no car at all. At least I have a Maruti car because you have given that example. At least I have a Maruti car, but my neighbor he has no car at all. So that way we can be happy. Okay, so these are some of the things that came to my mind. But one more thing as a question that I want to learn from this, as you said that take things as they come your way, and doing the best of our duties, and the best possible way also, and leave everything to God. So that is, I see it as a tip. Usually, I say it's a good tip. But suppose I have done my best and have all say faith in God and surrendered it to Him. That it is in your hands. Whatever you want to do, let you do. But in spite of doing my best, and suppose things don't come my way, so so the tension mounts, and again unhappiness come my way. So how to manage this situation, madam? Because I have done my best and have surrendered to God. I have all faith in Him, and I say He is there to protect me. But still, the mind feels no, I'm on the negative side, and that causes a lot of unhappiness in me. So how to manage this situation, please, madam?
Well, in a lighter vein, you could put on rock and roll music and start dancing. But yes, doctor, um, that is the time. That is the time when we have got to think of when we go to doctors with illnesses. When a doctor prescribes medicine, do we take one pill and get well immediately? No. He gives us a 3-day course, a 5-day course, sometimes 15 days, depending on our illness, isn't it? So, similarly, when I've done my best and I'm happy, I have no regrets because I've done my best, I've accepted it as the will of God, and yet I am unhappy, then know that during that period also, His will is being done. His will is being done. Not my will, but thy will be done. Thy will be done. Thy will. So, in spite of all my efforts, if still I am unhappy, that is the time to bend our head, look within, look at my heart, and say, thy will be done. And ask for patience. Because at the end of the day, we have to get over it. I've learned from these WhatsApp messages, God never gives us any challenge which He thinks we'll not be able to, fight. He never gives us more than we can take. He never does. That faith has to be there. If He has given me this challenge, He knows I'm going to handle it. Can we have that faith? We must have that faith. If His will is that in spite of doing all these things that we just now spoke about, I'm not able to overcome. And that is the time where you know what's going to help us? good company, the company of devotees, company of people who are laughing, company of people who have trust in me, who do believe that I can get over it. I may not believe, but I'm sure we have friends, we have family who believes that I can get over it. How do you think the sick people get well? I think besides the doctor's medicines, there is some other element. When the attendants are there, when people who come to visit them and visiting hours, they are the people who are actually curing him, because they're telling him, Are, you got the best doctor. Are, this medicine is going to work wonders. Are, you're looking better today. So when we are going through those periods, Dr. Sir, I think we have to have utter faith that he has not given me anything that I cannot handle. Maybe I'm not handling it properly, you know. And then keep busy. Don't get into the depression of not getting over that, but keep oneself busy. And and also you spoke about the comparison. So something came to my thought when I was going to college. The Air India people had a very large board on Nepean Sea Road. I'm sorry, the Marine Drive, and it said, I was unhappy for I had no shoes till I saw someone who had no feet. So maybe when we are not getting over our unhappiness, as you describe this, that is the time to look for people who are in a worse condition. So if we do that one good deed for a day, or if we, have practice doing social work, then automatically we'll come across cases which will definitely be worse than ours. And I think by and by that will help us. So there's no question of not being able.
Hello, Madam Wani. You see, Dr. Rao is actually referring to the paradox of the consumeristic culture that we are living in these days,
Yes.
which is based exclusively on comparison.
Yes.
So, in this connection, I would like to bring Hegel into the consideration.
Yes.
Hegel has used one phrase that die to live.
Yes.
Die to live. That means we have to kill our baser instincts, our own selves, the things which pursue for ourselves, and more we think about others, we think about the community as a whole, then we will start living and we will be happy.
Yes, Ranjiv sir, that is why earlier, when I started, I kept stressing that happiness is a very subjective thing.
Yeah.
We have to find the answers to our own, questions or rumblings of the mind. We have to. And these things that we discussed today are only little experiences which came to mind when one had to talk about happiness. And at the end of the day, as we all agree, since it has not been defined what it is again, very, very subjective. Where do I find my happiness? Maybe this 1.5 hour we all share every week is an hour of happiness for all of us.
Yeah. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, thank you so much, madam, for your response, and Ranjit Gussa's finding a point from Hegel, like to leave, sacrifice the lower for the higher. Okay, that's again comes from Tagore, sacrifice the lower for the higher. So again, one thing, madam, from the response that I got from you, a recent WhatsApp message. Again, as you said, the social media is so active, giving a lot of messages. A very nice message came in a few days back that I have gone through. God doesn't, he said, the message goes on something like this: God doesn't give what we want.
Yes.
God gives what that is good for us.
Indeed. Yes.
And, and it took nearly 20 years for me, I say, as an experience, to understand this. 20 years back, I was trying for an administrative post, working very hard, 15 to 18 hours a day, and I was to the top level. nearly being selected, but I didn't. I fell down from that height to the ground again. I cursed God. I said all negatives. Say, I have been working so hard. I have a lot of faith in you, but you did not give me what I wanted. 20 years later, I was being the senior most member of the faculty member. I was given the charge of the principal of the college. Within 6 months, I went into depression. I could not manage a small college. And the later 5 months, I was struggling for my life, finding no good anywhere, all dark, and I was risking my life. I did not know what will happen next. Thank God again, thank God. The secretary of the department, he understood me when I met him. He understood my situation. For 5 long months, I was taking antidepressant medicines and sleeping pills. So then I realized, you see, had God given me what I wanted, an administrative post, I would have died 20 years back, because administration was not meant for me. The teaching profession was that suited me, and God knew the best. And I realized that 20 years later. So 99 to 2018, nearly 20 years, something like that, I realized. So God doesn't give what we want, He gives what that is good for us. So what comes in our life, we need to be happily, we need to happily take that as the blessings of God.
Yes.
Nothing more nor less, because it doesn't give more than what we actually need, and
Mm.
it doesn't give less also. But it takes a lot of time and energy, and it kills us inside, feeling dissatisfied, unhappy. Okay, because God's leelas are many, and we fail to realize this. Having a realization that God gives what that is best for us, what that is best suited for us, if that if that goes to our mind and that connects with our soul, really will find the real happiness. Because the life experience I have said, because I wanted something, I was so unhappy 20 years long, 20 years for 20 years, when I realized that what God did for me is the best thing. Otherwise, I would have died 20 years back. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, madam. Thank you so much for the lecture. You have really brought in a lot of things. Thank you so much.
Dr. May I just add,
Yes, madam.
here I have to thank my mother. As a child, while I was growing up, actually, today's Mother's Day talk, I told this to my, friends in my talk. My mother cultivated, how, as a child, whenever I used to ask for anything, I never got it. And I always suspected that either I'm asking for the wrong thing, or maybe what I'm asking for is wrong for me. So my mother's not giving me. But when I grew up a little, while I was growing, I suddenly realized whatever I was asking, my mother never gave me that time. But a month later, she would, she would give me the same thing. But with, oh, today is festival, today's Diwali, or today's New Year. So we got this for you. And then I became conscious, but I asked for this 2 months back. And how comes that time mommy refused? But you know what I realize now? She cultivated in me the thought that whatever I want, I will not get. I may not get. But when I have to get something, I will get it at the time it is planned to be. You know, you see how it got cultivated in me? It like so today, when I want something and I don't get it, I say, "Theek hai na. In its time, it will come to me if I deserve it." And then when it comes, I feel happy. If it doesn't come, I'm in a win-win situation. So, I'm so glad that you got over it. And today you shared that beautiful experience with us. You've seen the worst. I'm sure every moment now you are enjoying and being grateful for what has come to you from God. Be blessed and stay happy.
Thank you so much, madam, for your divinely words, and we really feel happy for the way you have seen life and the experiences that you have. Well, thank you so much, madam. Thank you. Well, let us move to our admin, Professor Pramod Das, what he has got in store for all of us. Let us move to Professor Das.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Dr. Sir.
But I am not visible. Yes, I want to be visible. Very nice talk, very nice message, very nice discussion. Thank you, madam. Thank you all. When we uh, want to be happy, we cannot be happy. Happiness is our character. Happiness has no answer also. You can't ask the question, explain why you are happy. A happy man can't explain that how he is happy. It is not an explanation, it is not a debate, it is not a seminar talk. This is very personal experience, very subjective experience. Whatever we are discussing about, that is not happiness. Because we cannot be happy, we cannot cultivate that happiness by discussion, by interpretation, by interaction. So this is our character. Madam said very beautifully that our our thought becomes our desire becomes our action becomes habit, and habit becomes character. So the lower bottom is thought, the highest level is the character. When we are talking about happiness, we shall start from that character. We shall come down. It is your character. That is because of your habits. That is because of your action. That is because of your desire. And that is because of your thought. So you are happy. That is the finest perfection in you. That is the ultimate. That is Parama Purusartha. That is freedom. That is liberation. That is Moksha in this empirical world. So that is the ultimate goal. And why I call it character? Because happiness is not attained overnight. Happiness is not attained by taking spiritual classes for some years. It is not so easy. Therefore, I said it is a long journey. It is a long journey. It is long spiritual practice. After that, I am giving an example. When we uh, come across some people whom we do not know also. For example, Roma Madam. Anybody who will come in contact with Roma Madam, with her body language, with her sweet voice, that person will become happy. This is our general experience. When we come across with some people, we become very happy. And on the contrary, we come across with some people, we become very angry, we become very upset. So what is that with him or her that makes me happy without having any connection, any relation? Suppose I am going by bus, I don't know who will sit by me, but his vibration, her vibration is affecting me. Why? Because it is her character. Because it is that what he or she is. So that affects me. So not only that somebody is happy, his or her happiness can make others happy. This is the tremendous result of being happy in our life. My happiness multiplies. My happiness becomes uh, becomes public. It becomes lokasangraha. It becomes the welfare of the society. It is the asset of all. That vibration is created. Whenever a happy person is there, the radius, the vibration is therefore we are attracted by Mahapurusha. suppose Vivekananda, great personalities are there. Why we are so much? Why we are attracted by Lord Krishna? Because he is the embodiment of love. He is the symbol of love, and he is love himself. Therefore, we are attracted. So very, but this is the this is the ultimate status of happiness. But we have to practice, as Madam said, that as a layman we have to practice, and she gave so many um, uh, steps, tips for happiness. Number one, she said about aparigraha, that don't possess more. You should have a non-possessive mind. Don't possess more. Don't imagine future. Don't imagine your imaginary needs. Many needs are imaginary only. They are not really needed. We need them in our dream, in our imagination by comparing with others. And don't compare your happiness with other happiness. So non-possessiveness or aparigraha is the best thing, because we should. And then santosam param sukham. That means, what is sukha? Happiness is defined. Happiness is defined as the sense of contentment. Santosam param sukham. That means, if you are satisfied whatever you have, whatever you are gifted with by God, that then you are really happy person, because you don't have any and she quoted Krishnamurti, that the root cause of your unhappiness is your desire. Don't desire, don't desire something which is not desirable. So therefore, and Dr. Rao and Roma Madam also said very beautifully that God does not give us what we desire, God gives us what we deserve. What we deserve. And we don't know what we deserve. He knows what we deserve. Therefore, He gives us what we deserve. He does not give us what we desire. Because anything that we desire, that may not be desirable. Shreya and prayer, whatever is prayer, whatever is preferable, may not be desirable, may not be good for us. So, therefore, a happy man is he who must have faith in metaphysics. Faith in metaphysics means that there is a supernatural power, there is the infinite energy, there is the pure consciousness, who is the witness of not only my being, but the entire creation. Who am I? I am a part of this creation. And everything that happens to me, that is already scripted. That is already scripted. Whatever will happen tomorrow about me, that is already scripted. I am Nimitta Matra. That is Bhagavad Gita said, I am Nimitta Matra. I am simply an instrument. You are the real Karta. I don't have that Karta Bhava. I am not the agent. So many tips Madam said. I don't want to repeat them because they are well discussed in this forum. Thank you, Madam. Grateful to you. When I said that happiness is the character, so you are that character. Everybody should be that character. That looking at you, having your company, one will be delighted, feel delighted. Then that is the proof that how happy you are. Everybody should have that taste, whether others are happy with me or not. That is our contribution to the society. You see, today we have very poor audience. We don't care for it because we have Ranjit sir, who is very much active, and he attends all the webinars like a child, like a student, and we love it. So we are not worried about the audience. We are not worried about the numbers because we are seeking after happiness. So the real happy person does not does not he does not become worried about the means of happiness. No, if this will be the means, I shall be happy. No, because the means are not stable. Sometimes we may have 50 audience, sometimes we may have 100 audience, sometimes we may have 10 audience, 10 numbers of audience. That cannot affect our flow of action, our sense of duty, our dedication for anything, whatever we do in it. So that is happiness. So we should have that character. So karma yoga, bhakti yoga, and jnana yoga that are discussed in the Bhagavad Gita, that leads to that state of happiness. Thank you, madam. Thank you, Ranjit sir. Thank you, Dr. Rao. Thank you all for having a very beautiful session with us. Thank you.
Thank
Over to Dr. Rao for. Yes, madam, please. Madam,
you.
please.
Thank you very much. I never cease to tell you again and again, it's been a blessing being a member of the family, being led by you. And, and Dr. Rao takes additional care, keeps me informed about everything. And on today, Mother's Day, really the joy is, this is a blessing in disguise for me. You gave me this date, it made me think of my mother and all that she has cultivated in me, and it looks like all the members who are present today are giving me my mother's love. Thank you so much, all of you. Have a wonderful and a very
Madam, I just want to conclude it in a humorous way that
yes.
probably we 8, 9 people, we are most unhappy people searching happiness, and all other people are happy. that is how we can think of it. Thank you, madam. Thank you. Good.
And I'll say amen. May everybody be happy.
Yeah.
And we'll be happier. We who are together today will be happier. Happier than what we are now.
Madam, madam, you are talking about your mother very emotionally. This is also true, and this should be for all parents. But we the parents are very much worried about to keep something, some bank balance for our children, to to have a one beautiful house or many houses in different cities, so that our children will be happy. Rather, we should make them this training.
Yes.
How can you be happy without such assets? And I have seen such family also. I have seen such parents. So we should not encourage our children or students also to be happy because of some material achievements.
True.
This is very bad parenting. Throw them out. You fight. We have fought. Throw out means I am talking it in a different sense. Make them stand by their own leg. Don't go after and we should not also go after the property of our forefathers. Very beautiful saying is that I should not own that. I should not own that which I don't own.
Yes.
Which I don't own. If I am earning 100 rupees, that is my own money. That is my own money, and that is very sacred money. That money will give me peace, happiness. That's much. I don't want to lose my life, very valuable times with imaginary unnecessary wantings. Rather, I want to live this life with full of happiness, whatever I have. Thank you, madam. Now over to Dr. Rao.
Thank you, Professor Das, for your nice way of putting things. But one thing that comes to my mind, even Professor Bose did point out this, that when we take happiness as an end, it needs a time frame. We are after that. But when we take happiness as a moment, as a means, there is every scope that we feel happy instantaneously, or every moment, or any moment can be a moment of happiness, and that doesn't define, that doesn't need any sort of time frame. So happiness more often needs to be taken as a means, and doing so will can find moments of happiness in the journey of life. So that's my submission. And one last question, madam, because this question has been hurting me since long, and I find in you a person who can really help me to find it out, a way out. Well, who is happy? Who is happy? A beggar on a street, having a sound sleep. He is not disturbed by the vehicles moving, people roaming. He is having a sound sleep. And a really so-called successful man having every luxury, with a beautiful room, a well-furnished room, but he's finding it very difficult to find some sleep. That is
Okay.
okay. Who is happy? Or
Okay.
at the end of the time, who is happy?
And Dr. Saab, I'll just uh, convert the word happy into contented. He who is contented is happy. So if the man with a lot of money is contented with what he has, he's happy. If a man sleeping on the footpath on with a stone as a pillow is contented with what he has, he's happy. There is no parameter for happiness, So I would say
In Indian context, Ananda is used more
yes,
as contentment
yes,
rather than happiness.
yes, yes.
Yeah, so Ananda is the concept.
As a matter of fact, that is why I use the word calm and tranquil, because because happiness is. I think it's just because of vocabulary being increased and very soft word happiness, but actually, true happiness comes when we are contented. We are in the state of acceptance. And Dr. Rao, uh, I hope I'm able.
Thank you so much, madam. Really, it's a beautiful answer. Contentment. That beggar being satisfied or happy with the food that he got that night, and he's very much contented with whatever small things that he has or he has got. So he's having a sound sleep. But that man, in spite of having a lot of things, he's disturbed some way, and he's not contented somehow. So
Con-
he's not getting the sleep. So contentment is the answer to the question that has been raised here. Very nicely, you have tried to define this. Thank you so much. Contentment is the answer. Very nicely said. Thank you so much. But Professor Das wants to say something. Professor
No, no,
Das.
no, I shall only speak one sentence, that happiness is both means and end. There is no third way. Because once, therefore I told, once you have attained that state of happiness, you will make others happy. Your presence will make others happy. You can inspire others to be happy. Your action will be happier than others. Your words will be pleasing. Therefore, the other way, joining that character is your happiness. Then that will determine your habits. We shall go in that way, and we shall reach at the state of thought. And in this way also we can go thoughts, words,
and yes.
like this way. So, uh, similarly, freedom is the means, freedom is the end. Paramapurusartha Mukhya, that is the ultimate end of life. But that freedom can be attained when you are free in this empirical world. Jivana Mukta. Jivana Mukta, you have to learn to live a life of Jivana Mukta in order to attain Vidya Mukta, the ultimate liberation. That is called Moksha. So happiness should be your end, because when you are going to bed at night, that should end, your entire journey of the day should end with happiness. Otherwise, otherwise that was a very bad day of your life. If you are not happy at the end, then that is not, because you are the cause of your happiness. Nobody can make you happiness. You are the cause of your happiness. It is purely subjective, because it cannot be explained by any objective measure. Why you are happy, there is no answer. Dr. Rao very beautifully said, who is the happy man, whether a beggar or the king? Therefore, Buddha left everything. Buddha left everything, because the source of happiness, the pursuit of happiness, is very personal. What can make you happy? It has no answer. So, and that happy man who has taken happiness as an end means character, who has become the symbol of happiness, that man can make that happiness as a means. He can do, he can everything, and he can live his his life in that method also. Therefore, we follow our teachers. Therefore, we follow our seers, because they have taken happiness as the means for others. This is my submission. Okay, thank you, Dr. Rao.
Thank you.
Now you give vote of thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Das. Well, it was a beautiful lecture, and the discussion that went on was really good, and I really enjoyed Madam's lecture. It was so divinely, it was so spiritual, and more importantly, it gave a message to all of us, and it is really heart-filling and really feel good from inside that I listened to such a beautiful talk by a very good, with a divinely voice, more importantly, very divinely, and so it really feels, it really makes feel good from within. And the tips that you say you have not given any tip, but we have given a lot of messages, a lot of things to really work on, so that we really see happiness. We cannot crave for it, but we can experience every moment if we carry on very simple things in our life. Be simple as possible, and that defines our happiness. But if I remember one line to end up, if I remember the quote by Satya Sai Baba, he said, happiness lies in five things: Satya, Dharma, Santi, Prema, Ahimsa. You cannot be happy by Satya alone, or Ahimsa alone, or Dharma alone. He says when these five things, Satya, Dharma, Santi, Prema, Ahimsa, when they go hand in hand, man sees, understands who he is. He never questions, he never asks who you are, because he realizes, he understands that. And that defines the true happiness. So this is the thing that I got from Satya Sai Baba. Well, thank you so much, madam, for your lecture and the discussions that went on. Really,
Dr. Rao, when I
yes.
spoke about the spiritual master who said, I want happiness, I was quoting Satya Baba. He
Okay.
said, take out I, take out want, and then you'll only be happy.
Happy. Take out I, take out want. The thing that remains is happiness. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Good
So I
night. And
really,
all the ladies, once again, a very happy Mother's Day. I see Anjana and Swarnalata ji and
thank
yes.
you. Wishing all mothers very happy Mother's Day. Let me thank Roma Madam for delivering such a good lecture on this very good day. And we are really thankful to Madam for making us really feel happy, because as Rajit sir said, we are the unhappy people trying to be happy, and our rest others in the family, they are already happy. And Madam said, let people all be happy. And
Yes.
that is the message. Let everybody be happy. So thank you so much, madam, for your lecture. I thank our admin Pramod Das sir for his interest and his efforts, and he feels really happy doing all these things, connecting with people, finding the speakers, and having a lot of discussions with them. So that, and it's not that easy to get the speaker. Okay, and he does a lot of things, and and he said some time back that he finds real happiness, okay, delivering lectures, talking to people, and more importantly, upgrading himself. So very nice. Thank you, Professor Das, for your efforts, and I thank Ranjit Ghosh sir, Sravani Misra madam, Krishnamurthy sir, B Chandrika madam, and everybody who Avinash sir, who are present in this webinar and made this
Sure.
webinar so good. And and that was a really good webinar, and we really enjoyed. Thank you so much. Thanking all. Let us move to Professor Das for declaring the meeting close. Thank you
Nam-
so much once again, ma'am.
Namaskar.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. With gratitude, we are closing this session. Thank you all. Thank you all. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
sir.
Yes,
Audible,
yes,
sir. Audible.
yes,
Audible.
yes. Grateful to all. Grateful to all. Meeting is closed.
Thank